Alright, going to first game. Polaris will be playing against Dark. Dark will be playing Hog. So this is I guess the Mortar bait guide that you guys all have been asking for. So yeah, let's see how he beats this matchup. So I don't know how good this deck will be next season, but I mean currently this season this deck is the best. So I will definitely post this or try to post this before the season ends so you guys can learn and try to get the maximum value out of this deck. So yeah, versus Hog, the key thing with this deck that you want to do is you want to defend with Mortar. Like, this might sound like the most obvious thing, but with this deck, defensive Mortar is very important because you already have other tools of offense. So getting that defense Mortar in is definitely a one thing that you guys will see a lot. So here he's going to go in for another defensive Mortar. And the opponent will be splitting skeletons here to defend it. So they're both pretty much, I would say, in an even state right now. Let's see what Polaris does. He should go with the skeleton barrel just so he can cycle to an Evo. Okay, so he will go for a skeleton barrel so he can cycle to one. He's going to cannon cart to try to kill the Mighty Miner, but opponent will most likely go in for the ability here about now. Opponent just lets it go. I feel like it's a bad play from the opponent here because then Polaris can support this cannon cart, and the opponent doesn't have anything to defend this, anything good to defend this push. So yeah, the opponent does not have a good counter to this. So the opponent did take some damage from the Evil Skeleton Barrel, but opponent obviously is up on damage because of the cannon cart, or not cannon cart, cannoneer tower. But this is obviously not looking bad at all for Polaris. He defends that Hog. Oh, he took a shot, but it's perfectly fine here. He's gonna go for Spear Goblins opposite lane. He's gonna go for Skeleton Kings in the back, try to set up a defense. He's gonna go for Cannon Cart here. The opponent, even if they Firecracker, it's not gonna be worth it. So he's not really afraid of it. So he's not gonna try to like predict it with like a high ice wizard or anything. He's got an ability to distract the Mighty Miner here, and he's gonna go for a Goblin Gang on the left side because the opponent used the log. Probably is going to go for an offensive Evil Mortar now, or hopefully I think he's gonna hope to go in soon, just because the opponent does not have like the best way to stop the Evil Mortar besides obviously the Earthquake. So let's see how he breaks through. I think the biggest way he's gonna break through is with the Evil Mortar here. I mean, he's definitely saving it. He doesn't want to waste it. He's gonna go in for a cannon cart in the back, try to set up a defense, or like set up a push from the back. He's gonna go for Skeleton King here. The opponent does have Evil Cannon though, so he needs to watch out. So he's gonna go in for the Evil Mortar opposite lane. The opponent is gonna go for Earthquake on it. And Polaris does go in for an ability here, but the Mighty Miner locked onto the Skeleton King, and really good cannon cart lock on the right side here. He's putting a lot of dueling pressure so the opponent can defend it. The opponent will go for Evil Cannon though, so this push will be dead. But Polaris is up on damage, so this is not looking too good for Dark here. The Skeleton Barrel Evo should get a connection onto tower. It did 400 damage here. He's gonna go in for defensive Mortar here probably soon, and he does. I think he's gonna go in for something like actually he's gonna let that activate King Tower, I think. Okay, it does not activate King Tower. He's gonna go for Skeleton King on offense, and he's gonna go for dueling pressure. The one thing you guys will notice that he does a lot is he does go for a lot of dueling pressure here. He's gonna go for Cannon Cart again here. An Ice Wizard. He's not going to use Mortar this time because he wants to have the troops up. The opponent gives up here. Really well played from Polaris. He basically just played really slow by going in for the defensive Mortars a lot. And when he had Evil Mortar, he went for Evil Mortar opposite lane to bait out Earthquake. But generally, his game plan was to cycle a lot of cannon cards in the back since the opponent doesn't really have a good way to kill the cannon card, and he also liked to put the Skeleton King in front of cannon card so that he could get the 3-card cycle activated. So next game we are against Tanjiro. Tanjiro is a Goblin Giant Pekka player. So let's see how he managed to defend this big Goblin Giant push here that Tanjiro will be doing. So starting off, he goes for a Skeleton Barrel. Okay, he's gonna go for another defensive Mortar. He likes to do that a lot on these type of big matchup, like against beatdown matchups, or a matchup where, you know, just defensive Mortar makes them not do anything. So he's gonna go apply a lot of pressure. Tanjiro will be actually eating a lot of damage to start with, so it's quite interesting. But I feel like Tanjiro knows once he goes in for like one big push, he's going to be fine here. So he's gonna go for a Curse Zap, a Curse Rage to kill the Skeleton Barrel. So I'm not really sure what's gonna happen here. Okay, so the opponent in Polaris is going, you know, really aggressive. An opponent, I feel like just eating, oh, really good machine timing from the opponent, though. I gotta give that to opponent. But opponent is eating a lot of damage. I don't know if it's because he's confident that he could break through later on in the game, but I feel like he is taking a little bit too much tower. Not really sure what's gonna happen. Okay, the opponent is gonna go in for a Pekka in the back. Like, I'm like kind of confused because I feel like Polaris is just doing the same offense over and over again, and opponent I feel like is just eating so much damage to a point where I feel like it's gonna end like this. Okay, I feel like he's gonna go in for a Goblin Giant. Let's see if he decides to. I don't even know what the opponent can rocket here. He split everything really well, so opponent can only hit 2 out of the 5 things on the board. So yeah, really good defense from Polaris, and really good arrows to kill the bomber and applying pressure immediately. So opponent has to rage on the Skeleton Barrel. I think he's gonna go in again with the Goblin Gang here, and he's gonna go in soon again with the Evil Skeleton Barrel here. Yep, he does go in, and that is 1 arrows off. So yeah, he'll be able to take this game fairly easily against Pekka Goblin Giant. So yeah, I'll see you in the next game. Okay, so next game he is against the Brazilian Storm Royal Giant Monk player. This match, I don't think it's the easiest matchup for Polaris, but I also don't think it's the easiest matchup for Brazilian Storm, only because I don't think Brazilian Storm has a big spell, so I don't really know how he's gonna break through. But at the same time, he does have all the Swarm Troops and Monk. Oh, not Swarm Troops. He has Light Spell for the Swarm Troops, and he also has Monk. So I don't really know how it's gonna be for both sides. So yeah, let's see what happens for both sides here, guys. Very interested to see what happens here. Not quite sure how both of these players will handle this. I'm definitely interested in seeing this. Obviously, Polaris will go in for defensive Mortar here. I think he's going to go in for an opposite lane Skeleton Barrel to apply both lane pressure. Like, he does go in for a double lane pressure here. I think he's going to go for the ability once he gets it. Yep, he does go for ability here. The opponent will go for a Hunter. Really interesting Hunter from opponent here. Okay, never mind. Really good Hunter. I feel like if that Hunter died without getting the second shot in, then that would have been good game. But luckily, that did get another shot. So yeah, Kindercart didn't do that much damage, but he is certainly up on damage here. So looking really good for Brazilians. I'm not Brazilian. I'm looking really good for Polaris here as of now. But opponent is on Evo Royal Giant turns. Let's see what he does here. I don't know if Polaris will go in for an offensive Mortar. Okay, he's gonna go for a defensive Mortar. Like I was gonna say, I don't think he likes to go in for offensive Mortar in this type of matchup, just because If he goes in, the opponent can counter push with the monk. Okay, he's gonna go in for opposite lane skeleton barrel for pressure. Let's see if he arrows this or he's not going to. Predicting opponent's monk ability. Let's see here. He's gonna go in for an offensive mortar here actually. This will apply a lot of pressure here. Let's see what he does here. He's gonna go in for the Goblin gang to defend the right side tower. But I feel like that was quite the aggressive play from Polaris here just because the opponent did way more damage than him. But I think the left side tower should be gone regardless. So it's gonna be a tower trade. So yeah, let's see how Polaris wins this from a 1-1 situation because I don't really think this matchup is good in a 1-1 situation because Brazilian can storm, can always go in for a pocket RG, but the cycle is really awkward for him right now. So Cannon Card does lock onto the tower, but opponent will be able to take this tower, and the opponent will be able to clean up the Goblin gang with the Rage Spell and Skeleton Barrel with the Hunter here. So even though he is up on like damage, with that, like as you guys saw, that with big one push could potentially make Polaris lose this. So let's see how he's able to maintain this pressure and win this game. He's gonna go for Skeleton King to get his 3-card cycle activated. I think he's gonna Goblin Gang on top of that. Yeah, he does. He's gonna go for the low cannon card here. I think he's gonna go for a Skeleton Barrel here sometime soon on offense. He's actually gonna go for Mortar, I think, because the opponent used all the good counters to Mortar here. Yeah, he's gonna go for Mortar here. But opponent is back to RG. So let's see what he does here. He's gonna ability on the left side, and I think he might go in for another Mortar here. Okay, he doesn't go in for a Mortar. He's just gonna go in. Oh wait, that was a really unfortunate Goblin gang from Polaris. And the opponent will go in for the middle RG. Like I said, this middle RG and all this little swarm troop pressure is not looking too good for Polaris here. So he is definitely down. He is about to be down on damage here, guys. So I think he's gonna have to apply some pressure. Okay, he will be applying pressure by going Goblin gang in the middle. I mean, not Goblin, Goblin Skeleton Barrel in the middle, and going for Goblin gang in the middle to predict the Royal Giant, which is really well played from Polaris here. And he's gonna go in for another Skeleton Barrel. And then he's going to cycle back to another Mortar here immediately with a 3-card cycle. Because the opponent does also have 3-card cycle. So here, I think he's trying to kill the monk immediately as fast as he can. While applying pressure so the opponent can't just spam, you know, RGs. He's going to get the Mortar down last second. But I don't think that... Oh, the Spirit Golem is connected to the tower. So yeah, he was able to take this win. That matchup is pretty tough. And just because in the middle, RG can obviously get him. So yeah, really well played from Polaris, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Okay, next game here against Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos will be playing this, I guess you could call it a bridge spam deck, like the Ram Rider bridge spam deck. So this will definitely be an interesting match to watch. Curious how he will defend against the Executioner, because I feel like Executioner is unkillable for Polaris. I mean, I guess he does have the cannon card, but on defense, I feel like Executioner is really good for him. And unfortunately, the Ram Rider does connect earlier in the game, so he is down a lot of damage to start off. Really good Goblin gang placement that actually defends pretty much everything here. So let's see what he does here. The opponent actually just going to let the Mortar connect and go for a late cards. He's gonna Skeleton King, I think. Yeah, he does go for Skeleton King. Opponent does go for a really aggressive Ram Rider. I don't like that from opponent. I feel like that is just a good game right here. The opponent played way too aggressive for no reason. As long as Polaris just goes in opposite lane, there's nothing opponent can do. Once he gets to Elixir, he should ability immediately. Yeah, he does go for ability immediately. The opponent snowballs the right side, but the left side will do a lot of damage. Yeah, so Polaris is now back on damage. Not even back, he is up on damage now that that happened. So yeah, really well played from Polaris. I mean, the opponent overcommitted. There's nothing much, you know. Polaris just capitalized on that. So he's gonna go for a Goblin gang. but the opponent will defend it with the Executioner. Let's see what he does. He's gonna go for an offensive Mortar here. The opponent will probably boss bandit. I think he's gonna go for the cannon card here to defend this as well. I think the Mortar is on tower actually, so opponent will probably most likely lightning this. Okay, opponent is not lightning this. He's gonna ability and Barbaro instead. But the cannon card will be alive here, so this will be quite annoying for the opponent. Opponent also has the evil snowball. Polaris knows that he's up a lot of the elixir, so he will capitalize on that and go in for a dueling pressure. But like I said earlier, Evil Xe does really good on defense against Polaris' deck because it's all swarm. So yeah, that one entire left lane is dead. So let's see what he does this from this spot. The opponent will go in for a really good boss bandit, but Polaris defends it really well. And since the opponent overcommitted with the boss bandit, he couldn't defend the right side tower here. And Polaris is just going for more pressure here. And I think opponent has no chance at breaking through from this spot on. I think he's gonna have to. Opponent will try to go in, but then now he's gonna just set up a defensive Mortar here, so that even if the opponent lightnings this, that means he basically has a free cannon card that he could set up in the back. He should go for a cannon cart in the back sometime soon. Okay, he's actually just gonna go for a cannon cart to begin with. I'm not cannon cart. Gonna go for skeleton barrel to begin with here, and he's gonna defend that with the Goblin gang really nicely. He should go for a cannon cart, I think, right? Okay, so he's just gonna go for a defensive Mortar here. The opponent will go for boss bandit. I think what Polaris is actually trying to do is Polaris is, instead of trying to set up crazy defense, what he tried to do was he tried to bait on Executioner so that he could go in for his evil skeleton barrel, so the opponent can't really defend it. So yeah, that's how Polaris was able to take this game against British BM deck. Okay, going in here next game against Buttfuss. Buttfuss will be playing the Expo. I mean, obviously he's the best Expo player. He has 2 #1 finishes. Well, he has 3 in total, but 2 in the most recent times. So yeah, let's see how Buttfuss plays this and Polaris counter plays this. I said how Buttfuss plays this because I do want to see how Buttfuss wins this, because I feel like, or plays this, because I feel like it is hard for Buttfuss to break through with the cannon cart and the arrows. So I'm interested how Buttfuss will deal with Polaris and how Polaris will go in for an offense here. I think he will also go in for a lot of defensive Mortars in this matchup as well compared to offensive ones. So yeah, let's see what he does. I have a feeling he might either go for Skeleton Barrel. Like, he's gonna go for Skeleton Barrel. I was gonna say either Skeleton Barrel or Defensive Mortar, pre-defensive Mortar, but he chose to go in for the Skeleton Barrel. So here, Polaris actually will go in for an offensive Mortar because he knows that opponent doesn't have Tesla. So the Evil Archers will clean up really nicely from Buttfuss here. Really good Ice Spirit from Buttfuss though, so that he has to spend a little bit more elixir because Ice Spirit obviously tanked for 1 shot of the Cannoneer Tower. So he's gonna just split in the back, play a bit slow. Let's see what Polaris does here, guys. He's gonna Spear Goblins first. I feel like he might go for either Defensive Mortar or Cannon Cart. Okay, he's gonna go for Cannon Cart. Buttfuss predicts that with the Ice Spirit, but I feel like that's a bad prediction here. And this is a really good chance for Polaris to just go in. I think he's gonna go for opposite lane Skeleton Barrel Evo soon. Let's see if he does here. Or he might just, okay, he's gonna go for it, and I think he's gonna go for a Goblin Gang on the Mortar side. Like, he's actually gonna go for Spear Goblins instead, keeping that, applying more pressure. So here, Polaris is up a lot of everything, elixir, and just everything in general. So it's really looking good for him here. Nothing too much to worry about from his side. He's gonna just split skeletons. Gonna go for Fireball here. And the Evil Mortar actually hits the Evil Archers. Really good for Polaris. So it's gonna ability here, but opponent do have Evil Tesla here. Biffus will Evo Tesla everything, but the Goblin stab will get a hit, and the cannon card is alive, but opponent does not need to defend it. Okay, opponent actually does defend it, but he did not need to there in that certain scenario. So yeah, here let's see what they do. Probably will go for Tesla. Yeah, okay, the opponent goes for Tesla to defend everything. Not really sure what Polaris will do here against the defensive Expo. Because I feel like at this point, as long as opponent goes for defensive Expos, there's no way Polaris can really break through in this matchup anymore. So this will definitely be an interesting sequence to watch. So Polaris is trying to get the arrows damage here. Nothing too much. Just a couple of arrow chip. Trying to get some damages in. Let's see. Polaris will be saving everything by letting the Skeleton King tank for everything here. He's gonna always arrows the archers. The opponent goes for Evo Tesla. I think the opponent tried to predict the Mortar on the other side. So this is looking like a really good sequence here. I think the opponent will go for a... Okay, I was gonna say opponent might go for a fireball here. But opponent does actually go for a fireball here. Polaris should go for arrows on this soon and then go for more mortars here. Since the opponent just used fireball, he did outcycle it for a bit. And now opponent is back. The opponent will fireball it. So this is looking really close for Polaris here. I feel like he might want to spam more. He's gonna go for arrows immediately here. I think he's gonna go for another mortar or Skeleton King. Okay, let's go for a Skeleton King instead. The cannon core is doing adding a lot of pressure here. This is looking really close here. Let's see how he manages to break through here. Oh, he actually goes for a pre-arrow on the archers. Wow. That pre-arrow is winning the game. Right there, he knew that the archers were the only way that the opponent could defend the Goblin Gang. So he went for a pre-arrows because he was down on elixir, and that's how he was able to win this. Okay, next game we are against Nikoko. Nikoko, I feel like, is one of the best Brisbane players in the world. He obviously does have a #1 finish with the giant knight deck. So yeah, let's see how Nikoko does this here. Not really sure what Nikoko will do. Nikoko's gonna go for an arrow at the start. Let's see what Nikoko... Okay, he's gonna go for a Ram Rider. Polaris put a defensive mortar early on because he knew that the opponent is like a Brisbane player. So putting the defensive mortar early is good for him so he can cycle. What you'll notice that a lot of these good Brisbane players will do is that they will put a lot of defensive mortars when it's a regular mortar, and they use evil mortar on offense. So the only time they go in with mortar is when they have it evolutioned, so that they could get the maximum value out of it. So here, he's gonna defend it perfectly fine. I mean, nothing too much to worry about. Just playing everything slow here. Also, with the new season coming up, I'm thinking about just doing like a 9k to 15 or 10k to 15k trophy push, like I guess next season, the early season or whatever. Because I feel like early season top ladder might not be the most helpful, since most of you guys probably don't have it unlocked, or I mean, the early season is pretty boring. So I'll definitely try to do like a road to 10k 15k video for you guys, like a guide on how to do it, so that you guys could learn how to trophy push, not just, you know, learn how to push ranked. So yeah, that being said, both players are playing really slow here. I mean, both players, they're not doing too much. All they're doing is just playing slow. Nothing too much they got to do here from both sides. They both know that as long as they play slow, they are in a perfectly fine spot. So let's see what... Nikoko will actually go in aggressive with the Mega Knight here and the Ram Rider. But this should be an easy defense from Polaris, especially that the Cannon Gear Tower is hitting the Ram Rider. But Nikoko does have the Inferno Dragon Evo that will melt everything down. I think he's going to go for a Goblin Game to protect this cannon card. He does. And then he's going to go for a dueling pressure with the Evo Mortar here. He's gonna try to predict the ghost with the spear goblins, which he does. And I feel like he's gonna go try to protect this a little bit more. Okay, he does protect it a little bit more. He should go in for a skeleton king here sometime soon. Okay, let's go for a skeleton king here. He's gonna go for probably like a ice wizard to just counter that. Okay, yeah, he does go for ice wizard here to counter that play. He's just playing slow. I mean, he's not playing like too aggressive or too passive. He's like going in when he has evil mortar, because obviously having an evil mortar and going in will be the key with this deck. Let's see what he does here though. I feel like since he's up so much damage, I feel like he's gonna go for defensive mortar this entire time. Once that mortar dies, I think he's gonna go for the defensive mortar again, or he should, I think. Yeah, he's going for another defensive mortar. All he's doing is pretty much just going for defensive mortars here at this point. There's nothing much he needs to do to win this. As long as he just plays defensive mortar, he should be able to win this. The opponent is trying to break through here, but obviously the opponent can't with the cannon cart and all that good defenses. Like I said earlier, when he only goes in with mortar when he has evos, or when he has evil mortar. So that's what he's doing again here. So this year is looking like a really good push from him. He's gonna go for the oh, never mind. I was gonna say he's gonna go for another mortar here once that dies, but that mortar was able to take this game. And that was a fairly nice win against Bridge Bam. Played defensive mortar a lot and went in only for a mortar when he had evo. So yeah, against those type of deck, you do want to play more defensive mortar compared to a mortar on offense. Okay, so next game he will be playing against Bedfest again. So this will be 2 Bedfest games here. So yeah, let's see how he handles Bedfest again here. The first game was really close. He did get a really nice prediction arrow down, so he was able to win this. I'm curious how he will be able to win this game again. So opponent will go in aggressively here with the Expo. Polaris will defend it with the Ice Wizard and skeleton game, but he does also need the cannon cart because the Expo is too healthy right now. So yeah, let's see what happens. He's gonna go for a split Goblin gang. And the Expo still gets a hit somehow, which is quite strong. I think Expo is a little bit too strong in the meta, but I also don't think they should balance it. I do think that their approach on nerfing Evil Archer is a really good start, because I do really think that Evil Archer is broken. So yeah, let's see how he manages to win this. He will go for an aggressive spear goblin and a skeleton barrel. I think he wants to go in for a defensive mortar here against the Bedfest, because having the defensive mortar down does add a lot of pressure, so the opponent can't be going in for offense here. Opponent will go in for the archers in the back. This is like a really scary push here, because obviously having the evil archers, it is really good for the opponent. So I think Polaris just does that and wants to play everything slow. The opponent gets a really nice prediction to Tesla down, a pre-prediction Tesla down. So as you guys can see, this battle is pretty much battle of prediction on like what the opponent is going to do. So here, I think Bedfest wants to go for an Evo Tesla last second. Okay, he does go for an Evo Tesla on that last second. And I think he's going to go in for the Expo here sometime soon. Okay, he does actually go for a defensive Expo instead. And Polaris is all the troops are going to die unless he protects it. Okay, he decides to protect it a little bit here. But I do think that protection might not still be the best. There's a lot of damages happening here. I mean, Bedfest is up a lot of damage, and Polaris is down a lot. I think this was a similar situation as like the last game. So yeah, this is definitely looking really interesting here. Not really sure what they're gonna do. Polaris is not in a good spot, I don't think. Actually, really good Kitten card prediction onto that Tesla here. Even with that won't win him the game, which is quite unfortunate for Polaris. So yeah, opponent is defending this really well. Polaris is still again down on everything. So this is definitely not looking good for him. He gets a really nice arrows down though with the mortar. He will protect the mortar with the ice with the spear goblins, so that the ice spirit jumps onto the spear goblins. So yeah, he's back up on damage. I think he wants to go in for again offensive mortar here to keep applying pressure so that the opponent cannot go in anymore. So here he's basically just keep going in here, applying pressure, knowing that if he gives opponent a turn to go in for the fireball cycle or expo, he will lose this game. So he is applying a lot of pressure here. I think he's gonna go for arrows in the middle to kill everything. Yeah, he does. I think he's gonna go for ability and then evil mortar soon. He's going for an evil mortar. The left side tower is down a lot of damage because of the skeleton barrel evolution. So yeah, the Polaris is adding a lot of pressure here. This game is looking really close. Polaris actually got a lot of damage on the right side tower from that one sequence. So yeah, he's up on damage. So basically all he has to do is defend. Opponent doesn't have time to go in for like an expo here anymore. So yeah, Polaris will be able to take this game easier than the other matches. He played really good pressure with Mortar towards the end, and not giving opponent a time to build an expo push. So yeah, he was able to win this fairly easier compared to the other game. And I guess that's like another way that he plays against Expo. Okay, going into last game, it will be against Polaris Ling. That is Wero, the best Brisbane player in the world. I know on a real API, it does say it's like a Chinese player, but it is Wero. So yeah, let's see how... It's another Brisbane deck, but obviously I do think Wero is the best Brisbane player in the world. He's like a #1 finish for Brisbane, and he finishes like top 20 like for the past like what, 8 years straight without like dropping a single top 20 finish, while getting like top 10s too on like 3 different accounts. Like this guy is basically like insanely cracked. So yeah, anyway, talking about that, let's see what he does here. This definitely is a harder player that he will be playing against, just because obviously, you know, like Wero is like obviously the best player in the world. But so yeah, this will definitely be a harder Brisbane match. So let's see how Polaris is able to win this game. Definitely will be interesting to see how he manages to pull this off. So he will actually go in for an offensive mortar here. He will go in for a defensive one. He will probably defend that with spear goblins. Okay, he does go in and defend that with the spear goblins. The opponent will go for a boss bandit. He cycled to evil skeleton barrel really fast, so he will be going for an evil skeleton here immediately. The executioner will do a good job against the skeleton barrel evolution. He's gonna defend that with the cannon cart. So I think he knows that he is up on elixir right now. But I don't think let's see if he goes in for an evil mortar here to apply pressure. He doesn't apply pressure with evil mortar. Instead, he cycles to the skeleton barrel. So he tries to get the skeleton barrel onto the tower. He goes for evil mortar opposite lane, applying slightly a little bit more pressure here. That Rim Rider would connect, I think, get a couple shots, but I think Polaris is willing to take a little bit of damage here because the evil mortar is alive, and he does have a left side push going in as well here. The evil mortar is on tower here, and he will ask spear goblins to protect it a little bit and apply pressure. The opponent will try to go in for a boss bandit push here, But I think that should be game here. I don't think Polaris will lose this anymore from this spot on. Really good Skeleton King. And yeah, he was able to win this game. And I'll see you guys in the next video. If you guys enjoyed this video, I know someone requested Mortar bait, so yeah, I did it. And if you guys want to see any other decks or videos, anything, just let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.